What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. And it's match day, people. Arsenal against Shakhtar Donetsk, Champions League business. And listen, man, I hate to harp on about it, but I'm still not over Bournemouth, man. That one really, that was like a Mike Tyson, right hook that he hit Buster Douglas with, man, all them years ago. That one really, boy, that one landed. You know what I'm saying? That one really landed. But, hey, we have to move on. I have to move on from it. I can't get caught up for too long. But, yeah, man, it's Arsenal against Shakhtar Donetsk, Champions League. And my mindset, I'm questioning my mindset to this game today because when we were playing Bournemouth prior to that game, I was super relaxed. I said, we're going to win this game. I feel very calm about this game. And tonight, I should feel very calm about this game. But I don't feel calm about it because why should I feel calm about it after what I watched on Saturday afternoon? I should actually feel nervous about it, but I don't know. I don't know how I am about this one. Just to let everyone know, to keep everyone updated, there's no watch-along tonight. I'm not doing a watch-along. I'm going to the game tonight. And I'm taking Cruz to the game. It's his first Champions League game. So we're going to go to it. To be honest, I was thinking about not going, but it was already planned. So, yeah, man, I was in my feelings after that defeat to Bournemouth, but it is what it is. So, we'll still go and see how things go. And, hopefully it'll be a decent... no watch along. But I'll be back tomorrow, 2 p.m. And there'll be a watch along for Liverpool and stuff like that. I got some stuff going on in the background as well that's going to help the channel. I'll talk about it in more detail later on in the show. But big up to everyone. Salman said, Big C, relax. They will win tonight. You will have good feelings, but they're going to lose to Liverpool. Oh, man. I hope not. We have to win tonight. Yeah, man, if you're there, shout me, people. If you're there, shout me. Hopefully a few goals. But listen, what sort of team are we going to have out? That's the question. We've got players missing. So it is what it is. It's going to be an interesting one. But listen, big up to everyone locked in. Hope you're well. Wednesday, hey, NBA tip-off tonight, man. I'll be watching that as well, probably. 12:30 a.m. or p.m. a.m. a.m. Boston Celtics, New York Knicks tip-off NBA. I'll probably be up watching that, to be honest. But we are going to actually do some NBA watch-alongs later on in the season, definitely. Right, let's get into the show and the latest news. There is some breaking news. Hey, big up everyone in the chat. Dad said up the Villa. Listen, man, big up Unai Emery. Big up Unai. He's doing big things over there. I can't lie. We'll take John Duran at the right price, though. 40 million, John Duran, we'll take him. Listen, let's look at the breaking news. Let's look at the breaking news and get into a little bit more detail with this. The breaking news. Arsenal will not appeal William Saliba's red card versus Bournemouth. Louder for those at the back. Arsenal will not appeal William Saliba's red card versus Bournemouth. Now, all of the conversation online for the last 2 days has been Arsenal are going to appeal. They're going to appeal. They're not going to accept it. They feel they've got a strong enough case to appeal this red card. Number one, the fact of how far the player was from the goal was an argument. Would Saliba have caught him? Number two, Ben White was on the cover. Would he have caught him? And number three, he didn't even have control of the ball at the time. He was chasing after the ball. Now, listen. It depends how you look at this. And I want to know what you guys think. Let me give you some context before you throw your opinions in. And get your opinions in. If you appeal a red card and you lose the appeal, they can extend the ban of the player. Because they look at it as you're wasting our time. You're going to make an appeal committee, sit down, go over the details, paperwork, blah, 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 have a hearing. So if you appeal a red card and you lose that appeal, the Premier League can extend the ban of the player. So even though we might be looking at it going, oh, you know, they're weak, they should have appealed it, you have to ask yourself, by the letter of the law, would they have lost the appeal or would they have won the appeal? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? And I'm just putting it into context here. And you just made a very interesting point in the comments. Very interesting. Now, Arsenal's next game after Liverpool is Preston in the EFL Cup. So if they would have extended his ban by one more game, he would have only missed Preston in the EFL Cup, a game that he will probably not play in anyway. I suppose the danger would have been if they extended it by 2 more games, he would have then missed Newcastle away the following Saturday. Maybe that's what Arsenal were worried about. But I think the problem that you've got is that I don't think you would win the appeal. I think by the letter of the law, they're going to say he's the last defender. He took him down. It's a red card. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think we should have appealed it? Because a lot of people were saying that, you know, the guy at Chelsea who fouled him, Jota, his was very similar, only got a yellow and certain other things. No, it applies in the League Cup as well. Because it was Trossard was banned for the game against Bolton after the Manchester City red. I just think they don't think they were going to win the appeal. I don't think they thought they were going to win the appeal. It's interesting because I think there might have been grounds to appeal, but I don't think they would have won it. And I think they just think, look, he's going to miss the game. Let's not bother. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let's see what you guys think. Charles said they should question them and appeal as well. Even though we lose, it will send a statement for them to stop bullying us. Maybe we should have sent a statement out. Redemption said it's a clear red card. The club need to hold that. FFR said it was a red, but Trossard is to blame. I think the blame has to be shared. Trossard put him in that situation, but he still didn't have to foul him. But yeah, I hear you. Vasey said red card every day of the week. Tactic said no, they would have bullied us more. Ark said it's a red, let's take the L and test the squad depth. Trossard said chill with the hate. Dre said who cares, put your head down and beat these teams in front of us. Listen, I'll say this. This is how I'm looking at it. Arsenal, deal with reality. I like that one, Monty. Red, red, white. Stay. I don't know all the words, but stay close to. Hey, listen, I can't. UB40 business. Anyway, my thing is this, Arsenal. My thing is this. No, it's only a 1-match ban, Elliot. 1-match ban. Only violent conduct is a 3-match ban. It's a 1-match ban. He misses Liverpool. He's back after that. Look how much money we have spent on defenders. Me and Turkish were talking about this yesterday on OGs. Big up everyone who tuned in. Great show. We had a very good conversation looking at the bigger picture. Why Arsenal are still making mistakes that we saw years ago. You know, we needed a defensive midfielder for years under Wenger. Never addressed it. Kept signing number 10s. You know, by the time we bought the defensive midfielder, the ball-playing midfielder, Cazorla had gone. Everything seems to take too long at Arsenal. We need a striker. It takes 10 years to buy a striker. Right? We lost Van Persie to Manchester United. I've got to go full screen for this. We lost Van Persie to Manchester United. Instead of buying Luis Suarez for 50 million, who would have probably won us the league title because he was the best striker in the league, we offer 40 million and a pound, embarrass ourselves, go and buy Olivier Giroud. Giroud was okay, nothing special. We also bought Lucas Podolski. They were decent, they weren't good enough to win us the title. Then we could have signed Gonzalo Higuain from Real Madrid. We didn't do it, he went to Napoli. We signed Lucas Perez, another mid-striker who wasn't good enough. We signed Danny Welbeck, he was okay. That guy Welbs, yeah, cool, but wasn't good enough. Injury prone, wasn't prolific enough. Then we signed Lacazette. Lacazette was okay, not the answer. Then we finally got Aubameyang. It took us near enough a decade to get the striker that was good enough. But then the rest of the team was capitulating. Cazorla had gone. Ozil was fading. Ramsey was leaving. Every time we have a gap in our team, we take too long to sort it out, and then a gap appears somewhere else. It's like having a whole heap of leaks in the roof. You fix one and it starts leaking over there. You've got Santi Cazorla, an unbelievable ball player, and you don't buy that beastie defensive midfielder to play next to him to make him look like a dream. Do you know what I mean? You play Coquelin and you're playing all these players. And when we had Fabregas, it was Flamini and Denilson and all these guys. And then you get Alexis Sanchez. You're desperate for a world-class striker. You sign Aubameyang, but you sign Aubameyang as Alexis is leaving. It's always one comes there, one leaves. Get them all at the same time. It's frustrating. It's so frustrating. But right, going back to the Saliba situation. My thing is this with Arsenal. Calafiori, 40 million. Zinchenko, 35 million. Kieran Tierney, 25 million. Tomiyasu, 20 million. Timber, 40 million. Kivior, 27 million. Saliba, 27 million. Gabriel, 35 million. Who've I forgotten? I think that's everyone, right? Let me just say we've spent an absolute fortune. Ben White, 50 million. Let me just say we've spent an absolute fortune on defenders. If we cannot cope without William Saliba for one game of football, then we really need to start questioning how that money has been spent. Now, don't get me wrong. Anybody would miss William Saliba. He's that good. It's like Liverpool missing Van Dijk. It's like, you know, Ramos when he was at his best or whatever. He's the equivalent of that importance to our back four. But you've spent a fortune on that defence, bro. Surely you can deal with Liverpool for one game with no Saliba. That's what squad depth is about. You don't build a squad expecting Saliba to play 38, Odegaard to play 38, Saka to play 38. You should be set up in a way that, listen, if Saliba has to miss a few weeks, we're still good. The system still works. Like you're saying, people, Alisson is not going to play for Liverpool this weekend. He's the best goalkeeper probably in the league. They're going to have Kelleher in goal. So they've got a big player missing as well. As I was saying yesterday, my question is, and like you're saying here, who is going to be the centre-back pairing against Liverpool? We've got so many defenders, but I don't know who you go for. It can't be Kivior. That Kiwi is not ripe. I think you've got to go with a back four. If we were at full strength, I would have dropped Calafiori for this game. I would have played Timber at left back to deal with Mo Salah. And then I would have played Ben White at right back and I would have gone Gabriel and Saliba. However, with Saliba being out, you've probably got no choice but to play Kivior. Jesus, Kivior can he can be the dinosaur, the mascot. You've probably got to go Calafiori at left back. And you've got to go Gabriel and Ben White at centre-back. And then I think you've got to go Timber at right-back. Or do you go Calafiori and Gabriel? That's another good point. That's another good point. The way I'm thinking about it is Ben White and Gabriel played together when Saliba was out on loan. So at least there's some chemistry there. But do you go... That's a good point. Because if you play Timber at left-back, Ben White at right-back... Calafiori and Gabriel, two left-footed centre-backs. I don't love that, but that might actually make more sense. Because at least then you've got Timber on Mo Salah. I've just got this thing in my head. Calafiori against Mo Salah doesn't add up to me. Calafiori is a natural centre-back, so maybe you play Calafiori centre-back next to Gabriel, but then two left-footed centre-backs. I'm not sure. Tomiyasu isn't even in training, so he won't be playing. He's never available. What do you guys think? Let me read your comments. Chris said Timber is a better centre-back than White. Leave Benny out wide. White wasn't that great at centre-back. We need Timber in the centre. I think he'll play Timber right centre-back. So you think Calafiori, Gabriel, Timber and Ben White. My problem I've got with Timber at centre-back is I think their biggest threat, Liverpool, is their wingers. It's Diaz and Salah or Gakpo and Salah. Where I feel if Darwin Núñez is up front because Jota seems to be injured, I feel like we can deal with him. I just feel like I want Timber on Salah. We've got options. I think the best options that you've got, you either put Ben White at centre-back with Gabriel, Calafiori at centre-back, or Timber at centre-back. It depends which one you want to go for. But we do have options. I personally just don't want Calafiori at left back. I think Mo Salah rips him up if he plays there. Rice for centre back. Oh, I can't have that, man. He hasn't played centre back for years, and what does our midfield then look like? You're going with Partey and Marino. I can't get with that, man. Nunes is running your centre backs ragged. No, man, I think Gabriel deals with him. They had that little South American beef that time. I think he'll deal with him. But listen, there is options there. But as I said, for people just tuning in, Arsenal will not appeal the William Saliba ban as they don't feel they have a strong case. And if they lose the case, the likelihood is the ban would be extended. So they've left it. Elliot said, White, Calafiori, Gabriel and Timber should be our back four. It's funny, isn't it? When you have two right-footed centre-backs, nobody questions that. When you have two left-footed centre-backs, it feels like it doesn't work. You know, you have this thing, there's no balance there. I look at it like Calafiori is a centre-back, so I would go Calafiori at centre-back. Now I'm thinking about it. I would go Gabriel, Calafiori, and I would play Timber at left-back, and I would play Ben White at right-back, because I just worry about Liverpool's wingers. I think if Calafiori's at left back, he gets done in by Salah. I think Salah does him. And I think Timber could handle him. Let's see what he's saying. Big up everyone locked in. Appreciate your support. So he all said, if we don't win Saturday, Sunday, my friend, Sunday, 4:30 kickoff. Honest bro, you don't know already, bro. Nothing but honest conversations you're going to get on this channel. Maybe too honest for some people. If we lose on Sunday, we're in a crisis. We're in a crisis. That would put us 7 points behind Liverpool. With them having a far better goal difference. Man City play Southampton at home this weekend. They're going to batter them. So we'd be 6 behind City, 7 behind Liverpool. We have to win. I don't even think a draw's good enough. I think we've got to beat them. It's a home game. You've got to beat your rivals at home. You can go to their ground and draw sometimes. But we've got to beat Liverpool. We've got to beat Liverpool. We can't be going into crisis mode because we've got a couple of players missing. This is why you spend 700 million to make sure that you've got players who can step in. Guy who said appeal it. If the ban gets extended, then Turkish's Crocs can do a job at centre-back. Oh, my days. Big up Turkish, man. Alex said, all I know is that Webb asked the VAR to review the play after he was immediately seen talking, texting after the yellow card was given. The VAR called for the on-field review. Listen, I mean, do we know what Howard Webb said? Listen, did it look suspicious? Hella suspicious. Right? He's texting. He's doing the earpiece. We know he loved Man United when he was a ref, but who knows? I always say it, people, man, like, there's a major problem with referees in this country. It's the richest league in the world. We have some of the worst refs. What you do when you're with the worst refs, you give them as few decisions to make as possible. What did you do when you was in school, people? What did you do when you was in school? You knew certain lessons, certain teachers, certain things can run and certain things can't run. There were certain lessons. I'm at the back. I'm swinging on my chair. I'm chatting. You know, this, that, the other. Jokes are running. Paper aeroplanes. All that kind of madness. There's other lessons. Yo, I'm sitting down. I'm listening. I'm looking at the teacher because I know, yo, this teacher don't ramp. I'm getting detention. I'm getting all sorts. You got to know when and where to do the thing. If you know the referee is not good, relax, man. Don't kick the ball away. Don't pull him down when you're the last defender. Don't do certain things. These lot are going wild in every lesson. These lot are swinging on their chair, throwing paper aeroplanes, chewing on chewing gum, talking loud, all of that. Getting detention every night and going, yo, what's going on? How come I keep getting detention? You got to know where and when. Read the room. Steppers, tell them, read the room. You knew, yo, supply teacher's in for the day. Yo, things are going off in this class today. Supply teacher ain't got no control of this. We ain't going to see you after today. Them lessons used to go crazy. Arsenal aren't reading the room. Strictest teacher in the school, these lot are still ramping. Read the room. You're spot on with it. The refs are poor. Don't give them decisions to make. Don't give them decisions to make. Simple as that. Mohammed said that they don't like it. The more we fight these refs, the more they make it difficult on the pitch for us. Accept the L, keep it moving, beat the teams on the next fixtures. We have to first look at ourselves. Stop making stupid decisions to get players sent off. The referees are not on our side. We've had harsh decisions, but do not give them decisions to make. It's as simple as that. That's what we have to do. We can only control what we're in control of. If we're doing things right and the referees are sending our players off, then we turn it into a massive situation. But we've got to control ourselves first. It's as simple as that. Big up Matt Southern Gooner. He said Arsenal must decide whether they are content being known for falling short or determined to be remembered for greatness. Our window of opportunity is closing right before us. Listen, absolutely 100%. I keep saying it. I keep saying it. The time is ticking. Time is ticking, people. Arsenal seem to have this thought process that everyone's just going to look at us and leave us alone. We're in our process. We're in our phase. They're all going to sit back and say, oh, don't bother Arsenal. They're in their process. We're not going to try and affect them. Clubs don't care about each other. If Real Madrid need a centre-back this summer, they're coming for Saliba. They don't care about the process, the phase, the feel-good factor around the club. They're going to turn up with a big bag of money and say, we want him. And it's going to be hard to keep him. Players don't turn down Madrid. The clock is ticking. The window of opportunity, we are within it now. It requires silverware and ambition. But as I always say, are these owners ambitious about making money or about winning trophies or both? To me, it looks like they only want to make money. I don't see an ownership that is desperate to win the title. That transfer window did not reflect a club that is desperate to win. That reflected a club that needs top four to keep the money ticking over. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Peter said, Curtis, when I was in school, you would get the ruler on the hand and the ruler was on edge. Bro, I'm glad I didn't go to school in them days, you know. Laser said, something dodgy with this club. Bookies was offering mad good odds to beat Bournemouth. I saw that somebody put 15 grand on Arsenal to beat Bournemouth. To win 25 grand back. Yeah, maybe they knew something we didn't. The new generation don't know the old school method. Come on, man, you know what I mean? You have to be smart in them situations. Go said, the mistake you're making is looking ahead instead of looking behind. Looking ahead. I think we just got to live in the present with Arsenal. I said this the other day. All Arsenal can do is win the game of football tonight. And then win the game of football on Sunday. And then win the next game of football, which is Preston. And then Newcastle. And then Inter. And then Chelsea. That's all they can do. That's all they can do. And they have to do it. If they don't do it... Listen. I am fearful about what would happen if we lost this weekend. They're now under a lot of pressure. They're now under a hell of a lot of pressure. They need to show us what they're about and restore the faith and restore clarity. So we'll see. We'll see how good this team really is this weekend. And tonight. Let's not even look past tonight because it's a must-win game in the Champions League. We need to get out of that group. If you don't finish in the top 8, you're going into a playoff situation. So anyway, let's look ahead for tonight. And we'll talk more about one or two other situations. Big up to everyone locked in. No Jurriën Timber and no Bukayo Saka in training. We're not in any of the videos or any of the pictures. Were they doing individual training in the gym? That is a possibility, but tends to be the situation when you don't see players in the training session before the game. They end up not playing or certainly not starting. Very interesting. Lee Carsley does an interview after the first England game saying Saka would have been very close to playing the second game, but we've decided not to risk him. We're sending him back to Arsenal. He had an extra 5 days rest before coming back for the weekend's game. He doesn't make the squad. And now are you telling me he doesn't make the squad tonight? Now I get it. Maybe you're just resting them for the weekend. Maybe you're resting them for the weekend. It's Liverpool. I wouldn't even be surprised if one or two, like maybe Saka was on the bench tonight. Maybe he's just doing individual training, recovery work. Like you guys said, massages, pyrotherapy, all that stuff. I'm worried though. Worried about both of them. Timber. As I said, I know people who've done ACL injuries before. The year after the ACL injury, you tend to have a lot of muscular problems. because your leg is almost imbalanced. People who've done ACLs, and listen, thank God I've never done one, but I've played in teams and I've got friends who it's happened to. It almost imbalances your legs. You've got to almost learn how to run again, because basically you're breaking muscles and bone around your knee. So your legs can be imbalanced. So, and it's sad because Timber has looked so good this season. Every time he gets a good run going, you probably wouldn't be surprised if he has to come out of the team for a week or two. So we're going to have to really manage him throughout this season. And that's the sad thing, because he's that good. You would want to play him every single game. He's an animal, but we got to be very careful with him. That nothing major happens to him. In terms of Saka, I just don't understand why he's still not available. But listen, we'll see tonight. Maybe he could be on the bench. Maybe they're just resting him for the game at the weekend. But we just struggled to beat Bournemouth and didn't beat Bournemouth. So let's not take Shakhtar Donetsk for granted. But obviously it's worrying. No Kieran Tierney, no Tomiyasu, no Urian Timber, and no Saka. They were the 4. And no Martin Odegaard. They were the 5 that didn't train yesterday. Crazy that Kieran Tierney still even plays for Arsenal. It's unbelievable. He pulled his hamstring in the Euros in June. We're now in October. The guy's still not back. He must have ripped that hamstring to pieces if he's still not back. And of course, Tomiyasu isn't back. Yeah, Zinni might play tonight, you know. Zinni might play tonight. I think he might change the team a little bit tonight, just to put fresh faces in there and give the team a different angle. Listen, I said it the other day. I've been slightly critical of Saka this season. And I do kind of stand by what I say about him. That I want him to become even more clutch. I want him to put even more big numbers up. But one thing I will say is our attack looked very mid without Saka in it. I actually looked at Arsenal the other day and thought, hold on a minute, your whole attack is actually structured around Saka. We're the most lopsided team that you will watch in the top 4, top 6, top 8. Our whole play goes down the right-hand side. Odegaard, Ben White, Saka, that triangle is 75% of this Arsenal team when we've got everybody fit. Because we just looked... Our balance wasn't there. You didn't see... I know they only played 30 minutes before the red card, but you didn't see one bit of link-up from Sterling and Ben White in that game. The whole right-hand side was just a myth without Saka. It feels like we're Saka FC right now. Just give it to Saka, he'll cut inside and cross it. Or he'll cut inside and try and shoot. So, I'll keep it a buck. Like... Andre, you're not wrong. Our attack, even with Saka, is not that good. But without him, geez, it's crazy. It is, for me, and listen, again, people will think he's harping on. For me, it's absolutely unbelievable that this club did not sign an attacking player in the summer. And I'm not talking about Raheem Sterling on loan. I'm talking about a significant transfer that was going to improve that front line. I think it's ridiculous. And I don't understand. What I've realised with Arsenal, we seem to have one target in a certain position. If we don't get that player, we walk away from everything. We wanted Sesko. We didn't get Sesko. All right, that's it. Close the shop. Pull the shutters down. Put the padlock on it. We can't buy any other striker if it's not Benjamin Sesko. Why? Why can't you go and get someone else? Why did it have to be Sesko? We were negotiating Sesko to sign him for £55 million release clause. He decides to stay. And instead of going and buying Osimhen for 65 mil, Ivan Toney for 40 mil, or Gyökeres for 80 mil, we said, nah, we won't do anything. In fact, we'll wait a year and buy him next summer instead. Why? What is he that good? I mean, he looks half decent, but he ain't that good. And then we wanted Nico Williams left wing. We want Nico Williams left wing, who says, no, I'm staying. And next summer, we'll probably go to Barcelona, and we don't buy another left winger. We just say, okay, we didn't get Williams, we didn't get Sesko. We'll take Raheem Sterling on loan. It's crazy. Surely you have a plan B. Surely you have a plan B. Sesko was not even the best striker available this summer. He's not as good as Gyökeres. He's not as good as Osimhen. He's not as good as Ivan Toney, in my opinion. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Unforgivable that this club didn't strengthen that attack last season. We had the best defence in the league last year. So clearly the attack was what we needed to address in the midfield. And we spent another 40 million on a defender. It's madness. I mean, Trossard, yeah, I'll give them some credit. Trossard was a plan B for Mudryk. And that's worked out fairly well. The times when he doesn't look like he's drunk on the pitch. George said it's not only a must-win game. It's not only a must-win game. It's a must-win game with a proper attacking performance. At the moment, that feels like too much to get out of Arsenal. I think outside of the PSG game, we haven't really beaten anybody and attacked that well this season. PSG was the best performance of the season. I'll be honest right now, I'll take a scrappy, scruffy win against Liverpool the way we're playing. Tonight, I expect to see a performance. War Eagle said, not signing an attack off feels like actual sabotage. We are trying to win a league and we don't break the bank after bottling twice. It's unreal. Do you know what it is? Because sometimes I try and look at it from the club's point of view. Not that I agree with this. The club will have looked at it in the summer. They will have said to Mikel Arteta, left wing you've got Martinelli and Trossard. Up front you've got Havertz and Gabriel Jesus. On the right you've got Saka and Raheem Sterling. And we have to understand a lot of those players are on big wages. Saka's on 200 grand. Jesus 250. 265 is it? Havertz. Trossard and Martinelli. Martinelli's on 180. I think Trossard's on like 120. So the club might have said, listen, for you to bring in a striker, you got to get rid of one of them. Someone's got to leave. Well, Sterling wasn't at the club at the time, to be fair. But, yeah, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable we didn't sign an attacking player. That's what we needed this summer was somebody to go in that front three, somebody to maybe back up the midfielders and an attacking midfielder. That's what we need. Oh, apparently Trossard's on 80k, fair enough. But yeah, it's Arsenal. It is Arsenal. What they need to do is win tonight. That's the building block for what was a terrible, terrible weekend. Let's just have a brief look at our opponents. Shakhtar Donetsk, people. Listen, some of you guys in the chat, you may know more about them than me. I'm not even going to sit here and pretend that I know much what's going off with Shakhtar Donetsk. I've looked up their results. Yeah, Osimhen scored a bicycle at the weekend, but let's not talk about him. We spoke about him long enough. He still has a release clause in January. I'm sitting here right now, by the way, saying I expect Arsenal to sign a striker in January. Do I think they're going to buy a striker in January? Absolutely no chance. But if they're serious, get to January and go and buy a striker. Because Osimhen has a 65 million release clause. Gyökeres has an 80 million release clause. John Duran's agent saying he needs first team football. He can't sit on the bench all the time for Watkins. But will they buy a striker in January? You know the answer to it. They won't. Shakhtar Donetsk, yeah, I've been looking them up. I mean, I don't know a lot about them. I'm going to keep it 100. They're fourth in the league. Pedrinho, Vinicius Tobias, Sudakov, Kevin, Lassina Traore. I think he used to play for Ajax. Matvienko, didn't he? We were linked with him at one stage. Matvienko, I think he's a left-footed defender. I remember we were linked with him. Listen, I'm not even going to sit here and pretend, right? They got a guy called Kevin. I mean, what, Kevin out of Home Alone? Kevin! I don't know. I don't know that half of these players. Matvienko's the one that I've heard of because we were linked with him before. I'm sure there's one or two. They always have a whole heap of Brazilians there with the Ukrainian players. Fourth in the league. They've lost 2 out of 9. Yeah. What can I say? They lost 3-0 in their last game in the Champions League to Atalanta. And that was at home. They got battered 3-0. So, yeah, I mean, we drew 0-0 with Atalanta. Listen, I expect a performance today. I expect a performance. Leahy said they are not going to get Osimhen. If they get a striker, it will be someone else. Yeah, I hope they do, though. I hope they do. I expect a performance tonight. We need to finish top 8. This is one of the games that was like, absolutely, you've got to win. Like, there's no doubt. When we looked at those fixtures, this was one that we had to win. If we look at Arsenal are currently 13th, 4 points from 2 games, plus 2 goal difference. We got to finish in that top 8. And the thing is, this league is crazy at the moment because you've got Bayern Munich, Barcelona, and Real Madrid have all lost a game. PSG have lost a game. Atletico have lost a game. Even teams like AC Milan haven't won a game at all. So what I'm saying is, if you don't finish in that top 8, that knockout beyond the 8, if you're in the next 16 teams, imagine Arsenal didn't finish top 8 and we finished between 9 and 24 and we ended up getting Real Madrid or Bayern Munich over in a knockout game just to get into the last 16. It would be an absolute nightmare for Arsenal. So we need to finish in that top 8. We've still got to play Girona, Sporting Lisbon, Dynamo and Inter. So this is a must-win game tonight. And I think we also need to try and score a few goals because goal difference could count. It's a must-win game. It's an absolute must-win game. Dortmund are top with Brest. No jokes, people. Benfica, Bayer Leverkusen, Liverpool, Villa and Juventus. So it's all to play for. It's all to play for. I actually like this new setup to the Champions League, by the way. I think it's actually I think it brings more excitement. You get more big games early on in the competition. I think this new setup is better. Man said Kevin is in KG from United View. Yeah, why not? Why not? Let me read out these super chats. Gunnar Roller, you're spot on, C. Not that I agree, but it's clear the directive this summer was for Edu to sell and recoup funds. We have a lot of players on big wages. Arsenal spent 200 million last year in the window. It was the first window I ever looked at really and thought, they're really going for it. We made £100 million signing in Declan Rice. I thought, wow, this club is showing ambition. We then turned up the next summer and said, you've got to balance the books. After one window of going for it, they said, you've got to balance the books. Whatever you spend, you've got to make it back. And I was like, what the hell? I don't see Man United do that. I don't see Chelsea do that. And I don't see Man City do that. Yet we earn a fortune every match day. Our training ground's sponsored. We're sponsored by Adidas. Emirates signed a new deal for the stadium. I don't get it. We had one window of going crazy and they said, right, that's it. You got to make your money back. You got to start selling your clothes on eBay to get some cash back in. It's crazy. Look at you lot. Look at you. Look at you. Look at the state of you in the comments. Little breast joke and you've all gone crazy. Uncontrollable community people. You're uncontrollable. Information and entertainment, though. I respect it. I respect it, people. It is what it is, right? Like Dan Potts said, Eze and Gyökeres were the ones, or even Duran. He was on his way out after all. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We were. I don't think we were even in the market for them. But anyway, I tell you a striker we are in the market for. I feel like apologising before I even bring this on screen, but don't shoot the messenger. It's back, people. Do-do-do. Daily Dusan. Here we go. I told you. They get obsessed when they're linked with... No. Hey. Yo, Yasin, you better relax it up. I'm telling you, you better calm down. But anyway, Talk Sport. Arsenal will look to try and sign Juventus Dusan Vlahovic in the January transfer window again. I mean, oh my days. A 50 million price tag is being rumoured with the striker in the final 18 months of his contract. I mean, this is just ridiculous at this point, isn't it? Like, what is actually going on with the links to this guy? Every year we're linked with this guy, aren't we? Dusan Vlahovic, Benjamin Tesco. There's just a certain kind of striker they want, and they're obsessed. He was ignoring the calls when we were 5th and 8th. Now he's reading the messages. Now he's typing people. He's typing back. And I always look at it because what's the obsession with this guy? Now, I know stats don't always tell the true story. 16 goals last season in 33 games. And the year before, he got 10 goals in 27 games. That's his last 2 seasons. That's his 2 full seasons. He signed in January, half a season, 7 goals in 15, not bad, nearly 1 in 2. 10 goals in 27, that's not nothing special. And then 16 in 33, nearly 1 in 2. I mean, what are we going crazy about here? What is he doing to justify us going mad every year to try and buy this guy? He didn't want to sign for us. He didn't rate us. Now we're better, and he's not doing that good at Juventus. He's interested in joining us. Leave it alone. Don't go near him. There's better options. Why would you spend 50 million on Dusan Vlahovic? I just don't understand it. I actually hope we don't sign him. I don't want him. I don't think he's all that anyway. Maybe he's a class favourite. Something's going on. Bro, he's typing. You know, and you think, yes, the reply. Nah, man. I don't think he's that good. And listen, let me get one thing abundantly clear. Arsenal might not be in for him. You've heard these stories before where people at Arsenal say, listen, 80-90% of the stories you see in the media are not even true. So this could be TalkSport, quiet news day, link Arsenal to Dusan Vlahovic and get us talking about him. But I genuinely don't know what is even that good about him as a player. Again, I look at this like he's in that category of when we was finishing 5th. Yuri Tillemans, players like that I wanted at that time. I don't really want them players now. I think we've moved on from them. So Dusan Vlahovic, leave him there, my friend. Leave him there. He wasn't interested, and he ain't that good anyway. Get the strap, Gyökeres 9. Oh, man, listen. Glockeres, as you lot call him. Let's... You didn't rate Henry 2. I can neither confirm nor deny, Brent. I can neither confirm nor deny. Oh, man, that was bad. It was bad, but forgive me, people. He wasn't that great at the time, but hey, Thierry. You know, we live and learn. We live and learn. Anyway, people, let's move on from Daily Dusan Vlahovic. Arsenal, they want to improve the stadium. They want to do some stuff to the stadium. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. I think it needs to happen. For those of you who've been to the Emirates, I think the Emirates does look a little bit tired. Looks a little bit tired, and I do think it's time. The sad thing is, in football, is you sort of... Arsenal were ahead of the curve. Right, they built their stadium early. Before Tottenham, before Man United. Man United are going to make improvements to their stadium. Liverpool have improved theirs. Chelsea are looking to move. We had this stadium, what? Was it 2006, I think we moved there? Was it 2006 or 2008? I think it was 2006, wasn't it? So we've had that stadium. I mean, what? We're a couple months away from 2025. So you're looking at 19 years. So naturally now, what was the most modern... best stadium in the league? Man City have built a new stadium. Tottenham have. Our stadium doesn't look as great anymore. West Ham have got a new one, although I don't really rate that stadium with the running track. I do think the stadium needs an upgrade. The screens inside the stadium are a little bit small. That they're not great to look at. Just the whole surrounding area needs improving massively, in my opinion. Listen. Let's get one thing clear. I don't care if the stadium looks tired if we're winning the league title. I'm more interested in what the team are doing on the pitch. However, I do think they need to do something to the stadium. Now, the report in the Times today says that they want to add to the amount of seats in the stadium. Demand for tickets is so high. A lot of people can't get tickets. The food inside the stadium is bang average and overpriced. It's so mid. And I just think the general matchday experience can improve. When you get to the stadium, there's not a lot around the ground. A couple of food shops and the armory. I do think they can improve things. But listen, like I said, I would rather we had the best team in the country. I don't care if the stadium looks tired if we're lifting the title in it. Tottenham have got the best stadium. It's the most modern. There's no doubt about it. Tactic said the food is terrible. Avoid at all costs. Anybody that goes to an Arsenal game, honestly, people ask me, I'm going to my first Arsenal game. I say, bro, eat outside of the stadium. Do not arrive in that stadium hungry, because you are going to pay expensive amounts of money for food that is below average. Like it's some mad food. I don't understand why Arsenal Stadium doesn't have decent food. I don't get it. Why do clubs not prioritise food inside the stadium? You've got 60,000 fans there. Half of them are probably hungry, and your food tastes like plastic. It's absolute garbage, honestly. There's a couple Jamaican shops. There's a couple nice Turkish shops around there. There's some fish and chips. There's a nice Chinese takeaway up the road. You know, do not eat in that stadium. As I said, for those of you just tuned in tonight, just to keep you updated, I'm going to the game tonight. So there's no watch along, unfortunately. I'll be back 2 p.m. tomorrow. And obviously we'll be doing a watch along on Sunday for Liverpool. So no watch along tonight. And I won't be eating no food inside that stadium, I tell you that much. The info will be used against us in the transfer market. Yeah, man, they won't sign for us because the food's not good enough. Edu's doing the cooking. Probably. But they definitely got to improve that, man. Yeah, no watch along, man. Listen. Yeah, I'll try and do a fan cam. Maybe outside the stadium like the old days, man. Get a quick fan cam sorted and throw that up. Listen, if something crazy happens tonight, if we win 6 or 7-0 and play unbelievable football, maybe I can do a live stream when I get back. And obviously, if we lose, I don't even want to think about that. But yeah, maybe we do a late night little hour jump on when I get back. We'll see how it goes, people. If not, it'll be 2 p.m. tomorrow, though. I will miss doing the watch along, actually. But yeah, I'll be at the game. Taking Cruz, it's his first Champions League game. So, you know, you gotta prioritize, you know, the next generation. And I just hope we win. If I go all the way there and something goes wrong and he's sitting there watching it, damn, it will be a meltdown. But I think we'll win tonight. Just quickly, before I get onto my final topic. I'm going to the game tonight due to these guys, Comma V. They're called Comma V. And basically, it's they're a new sponsor of Arsenal. And they reached out. They said, look, we want to work with content creators. We like your content. And we want to do some stuff for your community. So they're going to be sponsoring the channel moving forward as we get towards Christmas. So what they did is what they want you to do is just follow them on social media. Follow them on Instagram. Follow them on Twitter. You don't need to spend any money. You don't need to do anything. Go and follow them. And they are an official sponsor of Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, Milan. You can see all those clubs. And they run competitions on a regular basis to give you guys free tickets to games, and you can win signed shirts and things like that. So all they're asking for is heavy engagement, right? They've got 3,500 followers on here, so they're not the biggest. As you can see here, look, we're delighted to announce a partnership with Arsenal. That was on September the 26th, and they're doing giveaways. Look, they're giving away tickets there to a Monaco game. There was one here to Atletico Madrid, one here for Orcs here. I think there was an Arsenal one on here, actually. Crystal Palace Spurs, we don't want that. Well, listen, they're doing giveaways galore. All they're asking is that I try and steer some of the community to go and follow them online. Comma V, follow them on Instagram, follow them on Twitter. Get in the competitions, try and win some tickets. You don't have to spend no money. It's nothing like that. And they've given me the tickets for tonight. So we're in an executive box tonight, people. You know what I mean? I'm not slumming it out there in the rain tonight. I'm in an executive box with Cruz. We're going to eat free course meal. You know what I mean? Free drinks, all of that business. And then hopefully watch a win. But they have said, listen, they're going to do a lot of giveaways. What I've said to them more specifically is, can you give me some tickets directly rather than putting them in a competition with thousands of other people? Can you give me some tickets directly so I can do a giveaway on the channel and give them directly to you guys in the community? And they've said they're going to do that in the next few weeks. So I'll get that sorted. So all I'm asking of you guys is follow them on social media, whether it's Instagram or Twitter, so I can say, look, I've promoted you, your numbers have gone up, and I'll give you guys some tickets. So yeah, there we go, people. There we go. So big up to Comma V. Hospitality settings tonight, people. You know what I mean? I ain't out there in the rain. Hopefully it doesn't rain. Hopefully it's raining goals. Somebody who won't be at Arsenal moving forward. Super Jackie Wilshere. Wilshere's done one, people. He's left us. He has gone to Norwich officially now. David Ornstein confirmed it. Jack Wilshere is leaving his role as Arsenal's head under-18s coach to take up a first-team coaching position at Norwich. The opportunity to move into a first-team role is considered a step that should advance Wilshere's coaching career at a young age. And they're saying there's been some sort of promise that if the Norwich manager gets sacked, he could potentially get the job. You can't blame him. Under-18s manager at Arsenal. He's a long way from getting the first-team job at Arsenal. Norwich is a decent club in the Championship. Apparently, he knows like the sporting director or something. So Jack Wilshere leaves Arsenal. Listen, good luck to him. It's a shame because he got the under-18s to the FA Youth Cup final, but is what it is. 32 years of age. Should still be playing, really, if he'd fulfilled that potential in the injury problems. But yeah, he's on his bike. He's going to Norwich. And all the best to him. It'll be interesting to see who takes over as the youth team manager at Arsenal. Even Wilshere said, I'm out. He don't trust the process. Nah, listen, he wants to be a manager. That's a good point, Leigh. It could be Jorginho. There is rumours that he's doing his badges at the moment. And maybe it could be Jorginho to take that role. That's a good point. Where are you? Let's be having you. Yeah, maybe he'll have to shout that. Elliot said, great opportunity for Jack. Good luck to him. Cyprus said, congrats for the sponsor. Big C road to 100k. Come on, people. Progression. That's what life's all about, man. Progression. Onwards and upwards, So, but I made it clear to them, if we're going to work together, I want to give something back to the community. You know what I mean? So let's get some tickets for a game. And, they said part of their sponsorship of Arsenal was that they're going to be sent a lot of tickets for games moving forward. So I definitely want to give away some tickets to the community. So we're going to do that. They said they're going to do that within the next few weeks. So we'll get that sorted. So big up to everyone locked in. What have we got left? Yeah, listen, I'm just going to go over the story that we said at the start just to finish off for those of you that tuned in late. The breaking news at the start was that Arsenal have decided not to appeal William Saliba's red card versus Bournemouth as they don't feel they have a strong enough case to win the appeal. If you appeal in the Premier League for a red card and you lose the appeal, the Premier League can extend the ban of that player. Now, if they'd have extended it by one game, that would have only meant that he missed Preston in the EFL Cup next week, which I don't think he would play in that game anyway. If they'd have extended it by 2 games, he would have missed Newcastle away the following weekend. I'm going to be honest. I think it was a red card, right? But I do think there was a grey area. I just don't think it was so much of a red card that the league would have gone crazy and gone, extend it by 2 games, they're a disgrace. It's not like he two-footed someone and nearly broke their ankle. If you appeal for that, you're just time wasting and they're going to punish you. I think they would have had grounds to have said, listen, I know it can be deemed as a red card, but the Chelsea guy got away with it. Ben White was on the cover. Saliba was right next to him. Could we have appealed it? I don't know. It's a gamble. It's a gamble. If you get him back for Liverpool, it's amazing. But if you lose him for Newcastle, then it's crazy. What do you guys think? Do you think we should have appealed it, or do you think we're right to just accept the red and keep it moving? What do you guys think? Congrats, Curtly. Hey, big up yourself, Dre, man. We plead guilty. Big Steve thought it wasn't on the Big Six. Arsenic said it was a red. Too far from goal, so a yellow, says Rory. Moving to the Emirates has been a huge failure football-wise. I mean, listen, bro, honestly, I could sit here and talk for 2 hours about that. But I suppose financially they needed to do it. There were rumours that Arsenal were going bankrupt at Highbury. Strong rumours, by the way. How true that is, I don't know. But the rumour was Arsenal were going bankrupt. At Highbury. Our wage bill was going sky high because of players like Thierry and Vieira and Bergkamp, who had obviously become top superstars. And having a stadium that held 38,000 fans was not making the club enough money. So the rumour was we had to leave. We had to build a new stadium. The demand for tickets was too high, but you could genuinely do a show for an hour or 2 hours talking about that. But certainly football-wise, the Emirates has not delivered what we would have hoped. Because the sad thing is, in leaving Highbury, we lost the fortress. When I went to Highbury, and the first time I walked in that stadium, it felt like a magical moment. Indescribable moment. If you ever get to come to London now, go and visit Highbury. I know it's flats inside now, but you still get some feeling of what it was there. And then you go to the Emirates, and I understand it because we're trying to move into the modern generation. 60,000 fans, you earn millions of pounds, you get more fans into the ground, and you're hoping that you're going to create a new history and you're going to win trophies there. Nobody would have thought moving to the Emirates. 2006, we qualified for the Champions League final that year. People thought, yo, this club's going to go on to bigger and better things. We're invincible 2004, Champions League final 2006. Nobody could have saw the future and said, listen, you're not going to win one title. You're not going to win one League Cup. You're not going to get to any Champions League final. You're going to win a handful of FA Cups and that's it. You would have said, nah, nonsense. That can't happen. They took the gamble to leave. They had all them stuff that Wenger was feeding us about. We have to sell our best player every other year to pay off the debt. Then we paid off the debt. It just still doesn't feel like what we were supposed to gain from moving to the Emirates, it doesn't feel like we've gained it. I thought the whole point of moving to the Emirates was, listen, if the best players in the world are on the transfer market, Arsenal are going to enter that race to get that player. That was my belief. He said we need to compete with Bayern Munich and clubs like that. I still don't see Arsenal competing with those teams. I still don't. When we get Bayern Munich, even Bayern Munich last year, one of their worst teams in years, we still couldn't compete with them. Well, we competed in the first game, but it felt like we just kind of got knocked out with a whimper. It's like we weren't on their level. And I say this all the time. Listen, some people laugh, some people agreed. When I asked Arteta about Kylian Mbappe in the press conference, it wasn't because I expected Arsenal to sign Kylian Mbappe, because he was always going Real Madrid. What I was trying to ask was, and maybe I didn't word it in the right way. First press conference, didn't think about it. I just kind of made the question up on the spot. I kind of sat there and thought, can Arsenal try and sign a player like that if he's available? That's how I wanted to word it to him. And I know people say, look, Arsenal don't buy the best players, they create the best players. But surely there has to be a time where when the best players in the world are available on the transfer market, Arsenal are in the race to try and get them. That was my frustration. We needed a striker. Mbappe was available, but we can't even try and sign him because people think it's laughable. That's my frustration. Haaland was available. We didn't try and get him because these guys are saying no to us. I want Arsenal to be in a situation where if Kylian Mbappe's available, we're making an offer. We're trying to get him. If Haaland's got a release clause and he's leaving, we're saying, yo, we're willing to trigger that release clause. Are you interested? You know, I want Arsenal to be in that situation. And people might say, you're crazy, we're not at that level, but how do we get to that level? Is what I want to know. We need to think bigger. Christopher said, Curtis, you keep saying we are a giant. I disagree. We nick a trophy here and there. History tells us that. Similar to Atletico and Dortmund-sized club, Chelsea and City are bigger than us now. And the only thing I would say, Christopher, you are speaking some truth. In the last 15, 20 years, all we do is nick a trophy every so often. But we haven't been a club for just 20 years. We've been a club for over 100 years. So you have to give some credit that there was times we were dominating and winning titles and winning doubles, getting to Champions League finals. We got a bigger fan base than Chelsea and City and Dortmund and Atletico. You know, we've had players that are bigger than players that have played for those clubs. I would argue Thierry Henry is bigger than any player that has played for any of those four clubs that you've mentioned. So whilst I agree, there is an argument that Chelsea and clubs like that are closing in on us because they're winning Champions Leagues and stuff. We are still bigger than those four football clubs, in my opinion. Now, that doesn't mean we will remain bigger than those clubs forever. Man City are only a few Premier Leagues behind us. Chelsea have won 2 Champions Leagues. There'll be a point that they will overtake us. There's only so long the history will hold out. Somebody just said Arsenal, the New York Knicks. Bro, as I said, growing up, I used to like the New York Knicks. New York hip-hop, New York Knicks, Patrick Ewing, Carmelo Anthony. I like the Knicks. I started to like Miami Heat when LeBron went there with Dwayne Wade. They're kind of my 2 NBA teams. But that history only holds out for so long. New York Knicks fans say, yo, Madison Square Garden, the iconic venue. And yo, but you have to win things, bro. You have to win things now as well. Because like I said, Arsenal have probably lost a generation of football fans. They're starting to get this generation back. But if you're, I would say, between 15 and 20 years of age, when you was growing up and Arsenal had Shamak and players like that up front, you might have looked at Arsenal and said, nah, I'm all right. I'm not supporting them. With players like that getting slapped up 8-2 by Man United, 6-0 by Chelsea, and they were tough days, very tough days, but we got to start winning. Chris said, damn, it's been 33 months already. Time flies. Big up, bro. Hope you're well, man. Tough times for United, but at least you won at the weekend, you know. Big up, Chris. Tay said, but does the food taste good if you have a few beers? I hope you all have fun at the match and Arsenal just take care of business. I suppose it does. But yeah, it is what it is. Big up. And big up to who's gifted 1 membership to the community. Really appreciate that. Big up to everyone locked in. We'll get into a few of your comments and then we'll round up people. Elliot said, we cannot be the history channel of the Premier League. Growing up, I used to throw that at Liverpool fans all the time. Yeah, you're always talking about history. European Cups, Champions Leagues, blah, blah, blah. You ain't won the title. Now I'm doing it. I'm putting up green screens of Bergkamp and Henry. Putting up green screens of Arsene Wenger. I've done it with Arsene Wenger today because it's Arsene Wenger's birthday. And he'll always be a legend of the club despite the way it ended. And I'll always have respect for Wenger, man. That's Uncle Wenger. You know, people thought he actually made the club. They thought he was named after the club. Or they thought the club was named after him. But yeah, man, it's crazy. And I like to speak about the bigger issues. Sometimes people think, you know, it's one defeat. But I think it's good to speak about the whole thing. Fitz said the Emirates is all built on a bag of Kroenke lies. And it does feel like that. Because they were promising to take us into that next generation. Chelsea had that powerhouse spending of Abramovich. The whole point of the Kroenkes was, we're going to be a powerhouse through the Kroenkes. And it feels like the Kroenkes have got richer and richer and richer. Where Arsenal have kind of said, well, where do we fit into all this? Your NBA team's winning the championship. Your American football team are winning the Super Bowl. Your ice hockey team are winning the Stanley Cup. And we're sitting here with 1 FA Cup in 5 years going, can we have some crumbs off the plate, Mr. Kroenke? Like, that's where my problem is with this ownership model. But not everyone agrees with it, and that's the problem. Half the fan base think they're good owners. And so when you have that conversation, they get mad. I don't know why. Listen, people, I'm going to round up there. We've been live for just over an hour. Nearly 2,000 of you in the chat. Big up everyone on Twitch, everyone on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video. And as I said, there'll be no watch along tonight. I'm going to the game. Depending on how the game goes, we might try and get a live later tonight. If not, I'll be back at 2 p.m. tomorrow. And I'll try and get a fan cam outside the stadium as well. Just to get some content out. And hopefully we got a decent game to react to and 3 points. So listen, big up to everyone locked in. Enjoy your evening. And big up Gunnar Fazali said it's my birthday today too. Happy birthday to you, bro. And Hendon said, enjoy the corporate hospitality. 100%, bro. Spent enough money on all the merch, you know. Last thing, I'm going to get some food and drink out of them. Big up to everyone. Enjoy your day. Hopefully Arsenal pick up 3 points tonight. Hopefully we get some goals, get that goal difference up. Champions League Tuesdays. And I'll speak to you all after the game. Take care, everyone. I'll see you soon. Bless.